we just asked was, what are the changing rates of domestic abuse and crime towards women since feminism and gender studies and the like came into prominence in the world? Has it gone up or down? Are we fighting a war on men? Or are we preserving the safety of women? It's hard to need something you never had. It's hard for a man to say, I needed more consideration for my sex and my gender from the world. I mean, you'll be laughed out of every gender studies course in the world by every set of tits and testicles. Will laugh you away. Loser, right? So what does that tell you about the world? What has it really accomplished? Who is the most affected gender? Men. Yeah. Men don't get to say. It is difficult for me to express a need, which is surreal even to me, for things which just were never there for me and never expected to be, maybe not by anyone, because of my gender. Because of my gender, I could have such needs as I might be able to maybe one day articulate, which have never and will never be met by any society on earth as a man. Think about that. I don't ever get treated the way I want it to be. Ever. At all. People are weird. In a sense, I suffer from the effects, the industrial poisoning-like effects of how the world has learned to treat men. Because whatever it seems like it can do, it can't ever do enough for me to make me feel safe. I've never safely been treated like a man by any female in the world. There's no system or philosophy that treats me as a man the way I want to be, that talks about me the way I want to be spoken about, that makes sense to me in terms of my emotional body and my, I think, very intelligent assessment of what I've experienced in life, my reality. Nothing. No philosophy in the world. That's why I'm a Satanist. Nothing. No one's sense of values matches my set of values completely. And it's taken me all my life and thousands of miles and effort to get my mom to stop abusing me. And I go home today to a safe, friendly home. Even if out here things can be a little rocky, I come home now day after day to a perfectly safe home, positive home. It's like a gift. Christmas isn't even here, and I'm just like, my system's just relaxing. It's coming out of shock. I'm like, maybe I could actually start resting. My home is safe, even though my mom is there. It's like, whew, there are concerns, but it's like, this is pretty good. Yeah. I think I'm still nervous. Yeah, it's like there's still evil coming out of me. Owl energy. What do we see? Blue heron today? And then we actually saw blue herons. And a little bit of owl always there. Just kind of like bear in a way, because I think to me they have a very central voice in the whole range of medicines available in nature. The owl, like knowledge, the bear, the center of the medicine wheel. Yeah. Get that liver back into the happy wanderer. Oh, that's what it was, a medicine, I remember, for the liver through some weird company. It was called the Happy Wanderer. The idea of, getting the liver happy, that's what makes you feel happy. You take all the crap you want, take all the pisses you want. I hope I'm all crapped out for today. Yeah, I can tell when I'm feeling a little weakness, and I can correlate it with negative female energy, with poisoning. That's like, okay, it's a perfect day. And I was so proud of myself last night. I redesigned my walk to accommodate a little more privacy. And today's pretty good. And the sun is my shield. So that's what it's called, the G4. The sun is my shield, which actually makes 7-4, which is the year of my birth. The sun is my shield. So just 2 letters combined with other things I consider about the number 4. G4 actually becomes a very powerful alphanumeric combination for me. Maybe I'll name my first son G4. G4, come here. G4. I'll have to use a different accent though. G4, come here please. G4, you know why I called you G4? Well, I forget, but it was really important. G4, I love you, G4. I love you so much, G4. G4, and after. Yeah, I feel a little today. I know I'm stoned, but it's just like, it's something else. It's like a little parasitical. Ugh. It's like tasting the sort of parasitical effects of at least 2 women's evil. Their weakness of character and morality through their physical disintegration. And then what they do is their evil, their disease, looks to sacrifice a man. Women, to survive, learn to grab on to male energy, even just in mere acquaintance, and like grab onto it, latch onto it, and inveigle it into some sort of unseemly drama or charade. Right. These are like lower class women who literally drag you down with their filth. This is why men don't want to interact with just anyone. They drag you down into their filthy little worlds. And it is compassionately a very pitiful state to be in, that none of us would want to be in, I guess. To be that desperate, to drag people into their sort of desperate measures. I met a full series of really desperate and sick women over the last week. And that's part of why I feel a little ill today. But we're moving. It's amazing that on one hand, that I can feel shock from it. It's shock. It's like, oh, I'm a little bit in shock. That's why I feel the way I do. It's taken me all day to kind of realize that. I can say it, but it doesn't seem real. And then it's like, now it seems real. It's like, oh, this is like shock. It's like, okay, all right, I can do this. This is shock. All right, this is shock. I'm in shock. And so these things set you into shock. And then you're like, it's like, what's happening? And it's like, oh, it's shock. Okay, shock. All right. Shocking. All right, got it. Shocking. I'm in shock. All right. Got it. Shock. What does that mean? Well, good things for me, because it's like a science. And even nature makes the letters of science out here while I'm talking about science. The runes talk about science. The roots of the trees talk about this science. It allows me to be shocked, right? And that can be a thing that I can be when I need to be, because it's something I can be. Ever since I was a child, or maybe you can be in shock. Like, I used to get little tummy aches all the time, or I'd get mono, or I was in shock. But just now, like, I'm 50 years old and I have a little tummy ache, a little weakness in my constitution. That's what I call it. It's just, You can call it what you want. It's like, that's shock. I'm a little bit in shock. My system's a little weakened. I've been weakened by people, and usually, just so you know, if you're weakened like this, man, you've already won. You're victorious. The shield of Satan is smiling, which is the sun, not the moon, as in Paradise Lost. The shield of Satan is the sun. Paradise Lost gets it wrong. Milton made a mistake. And as a witch, I've corrected it. The shield is the sun. It's very important to understand that. And, you could have the shield. Diana, I guess, holds the shield of the moon. So, but I'm not interested in that right now. You can have that for all I care. I'll take the sun. If you don't meet the sun, you can't meet the moon. If you can't meet the moon, you're probably going to rape me. The witchcraft that I learned through just chapter books or whatever, so books from the bookstore, is always like, focus on the moon and the feminine first, even if you're a man. Now I think that was completely backwards. It's a good thing that by myself I started focusing on the sun. It really saved me, actually. These women who write books in witchcraft, and it's like, oh, it's good for men too. Draw down the moon. More yin energy for everyone. Cancer is good. Because cancer is just, they'll say it's like, you're septic, but you have too much estrogen. Your woman has taken up too much of your life. Your marriage, a lot of men are dying of cancer from being married too long. To people who don't treat them properly. And yes, there are lots of complex issues involved with that, but at some point you've got to get into the disease and separate these people, because there's a lot of death coming down the line. And these men, they end up with these women, and they become enfeebled, they become dependent upon them, and these women just wait for them to die. And it's like, whatever philosophy they have in life, I sacrificed myself to my mother. I let my mother kill me. And that's what men die from. The actor lets his mother kill him. Captain Kirk lets his ship consume him. Right? It's the same thing. The government consumes you. Your responsibilities consume you. The magic of childhood is lost. But yet these same men in my own family, they do really good jobs. They take care of their family, everything. But they end up giving their lives. I don't like that. Sure, I'm a strange man, but look what I'm focused on. This is what I have. Maybe my problems console me. Like this river. I feel it in my heart, though. I feel a pressure on my throat. I feel it. It's like, as much as I feel weakened or shocked, I feel a pressure on my heart. Yeah, it's walking out through this way, particularly at the wall, at Odin's Wall, which I named before I was sexually harassed there by a woman in a very particular way. And it's not, I call it sexual harassment, but a lot of these things, the really interesting thing is just what's going on, whether you think it's harassment or not. It's just, to break it down, it's like saying it's sexual harassment, it's like putting a pin in it. And it's like, I'm happy to just talk about it and, tell someone the story, and you can decide whether it's sexual harassment or not, but it's remarkable. And where it becomes very poignant and very angry to me is where all these things, though we can discuss them, impinge upon my physical well-being, and how I know, like a doctor knows about disease, how this can affect a man's health, the way these women are talking to me, right? And yes, I think the world has protected people from this conversation, because it's too complex, it's too unwieldy, and people in shock are bound to, take it up and go, I must hurt women, they're killing us. How many women are being battered by men who are scared of women? How many men are being battered by women who are scared of men? And it's just who's scared of whom more. And they're just basically trying to dominate each other. because they're scared. And they can either be scared or they can be angry. And those are the only two things they can do with this person because they just have freaked them out that much. And now what do you got? You know, a lot of shock. Now you've got children sitting there. Then you've got millions of people who are just parlaying this like tiny bits of radioactive nuclear family, a little bit here, a little bit there, and depositing it, you know, along in the world as they go, like little bits of dirt in the Shawshank Redemption to make their way to retirement. They're just crawling down a tunnel of shit, right? Or just depositing little bits of, unfortunately, like maybe just violent energy around them. I don't want to think about that so much. It's just, in a perfect world, if the world were as bad as I think it is, everybody would be allowed to grieve without being convicted of some awful crime against some other gender. You know, what if everybody's just trying to heal? You know, there's also this level where, like, I thought about my mom. I've been angry, my dad, very angry. I can have bolts of anger, love, tears, grief, sadness. Always try to wish them well, send them, you know, my best. You know, really, you know, because I'd like my parents to have everything that's good that I can do in this world. For sure, they deserve that, and that's how, you know, I honor my childhood. I honor what is good. I honor what is positive through all that else that has befallen me or them or my family or this world. You know, I honor them, my ups, my downs, because I just don't think they really meant anything wrong. I can't imagine what I've learned. There are generations of oppressive conditions and how they're passed along in families. And if you focus on that as a source of learning, you know, you'll basically have a very different life. You know, you have to, you know, everyone has their own world, but it's like I have my own universe of thinking, but it collapses, you know, into just a strange white man walking around and going home and having a hot bath and being with my mother and our dog. But out here, the mind sort of expands. And so if I seem like I'm having thoughts of delusion or just too expansive, it's just that the wilds and the marijuana and the air just combine to, I think, expand my thoughts, which doesn't mean they're better thoughts. It just means they have a more expansive nature, affected by the way I'm breathing, how much air I'm getting, and also the fatigue I'm suffering from. I could be just a crazy old man. I like it, but I like that, you know, just like you go for a jog and have a high, you come home, but you also want to rest and restore. So I couldn't keep this up all day long. Right? But I am trying to feel good, and if my thoughts start to sound better, I think I start to feel better sometimes. You know? A little heart in there, so the heart had a voice, that's good. That's always a part of healing. Thought I saw a man down here. I gotta go down here now. Oh. Oh, it's lonely. Huh? The yellow maple leaves brighten it up. It's like it says hue. I've met a few bisexuals in my life, and they've all very high energy. Very high energy. Yeah, high energy. Uh, intense personalities. Cool. Oh, it's beautiful here. Pop, 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 pop. Oh. You belong with Nice. Good. Good allergies today. Two. Reaching for the sun. The roots of trees. Reaching for the sun. Roots of trees. Reaching for the sun. Algae. The roots of trees. Reaching for the sun. Lazy today. I just want to sit down. I'll sit down over here maybe. So I'm a little more out of the way. in a somewhat happy place. 7.5 on the Landon Happy Richter scale. It only took, 4, 5, 6 hours of talking about how much I dislike women. So, what does that tell you? I did alter my entire day because of women. And by the way, ladies, thank you. What do middle-class men innately share? White men, straight men, innately share, male men, gender male men, share, except or beyond the love of the vajayjay, or at least certain vajayjays, which are so tender and feminine, so loving and pure, and well, you get the idea. We favor them with our attention and our erection. Our erect attention. We become the inseminator. Now, that is a happy thing at first. It's like a ride at Disneyland. It can be really fun, but it also makes you want to vomit. The effect of various chemicals, hers and yours, emanating from your pubic follicles, can make you enter into a state where it is permissible to suck each other's dirty areas. Which are as dirty as the dirtiest cock and the filthiest vagina in anyone you can point to. Essentially. These chemicals make us want to do that. They lower our inhibitions. So, humans can lower their inhibitions. Someone was telling me about speed bike racing and how, your body gets scared going at 250 miles an hour on a wet road. And what you have to do is overwrite your body, your shaking, your brain wants to turn off or go numb. They said you have to override that. It's normal to be afraid. So they acknowledge the fear. It's like, yep, there's every reason to be terrified right now, right? But I'm going to go forward anyway. So I can teach myself to go beyond this threshold. I don't want to do that, but still, just an interesting lesson. When in high pressure environments, people like this who are smart learn knowledge. Right? People who are like fighters and things like that, work with swords, guns, you name it. Maybe soldiers too, I don't know. They learn focus. They learn how to go to beyond certain thresholds. They learn things, in short, that anyone can take something from. If you think about like the power of like acknowledging your fear, like people who become really good physical at dangerous things, they acknowledge the danger around them. They're sensible of it, and they train themselves to overwrite the normal. They accept the normal responses. If you're training in the military and they shove you in a thing and it takes you down at like 100 miles per hour into the water, and your hands are tied and whatever, and you fall in there and you got 10 pounds tied around your neck, and you're like, holy fuck, like they know that you're scared. You're supposed to be scared. And then you're supposed to like, okay, it's going to terrify you. Your body's going to shake. Your heart's going to accelerate. You know, you're going to want to do this, this, and this, and you have to not do that. You have to. Hey, hey, hello. Did I see you guys yesterday?
Hey?
Did I pass you guys yesterday? Oh, maybe someone else.
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. Very similar energy to a man and woman who walked by me the other day. And so, you know, I wouldn't want to do that, right? I think that's crazy. But the idea that acknowledging the situation you're in so that you can not endanger yourself with the natural instincts that you have to want to fight or resist a scary situation. You know, if you're on the bike, you say, well, I'm going to stop the bike. You know, if I suddenly was on a 200 mile per hour speed bike, I would basically say, where are the brakes? Let's just shut this baby down right now. I want to stop. I want to get off. You know, I was on skis once and I was like, okay, I didn't like skiing. I'm not good at it. And I'm on this hill. I thought, I want to see what it's like to go fast. So I can't do this turning shit. So I'm just going to go straight down. Right? And then I guess I'll just stop when I get tired of it. Well, I ended up racking out and getting like a semi-concussion, and the ski people came and got me and escorted me down on my ass down the hill, and I had no shame whatsoever. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much, thank you. You know, and I virtually knocked myself out. I don't think I ever really skied again. You know, because I was just tired. Like, I don't have the full motor function of my left foot, right? I was just like, it was kind of getting me down. I needed like a personal trainer to help me get through that physical block, which was probably a mental block as well, because there was a bit of fear, like, you know, that my ski was going to cross and all this sort of stuff. And I just never, you know, the conditions weren't nice for me to really get the hang of it, so I really never learned to ski at all. And, you know, so I guess I didn't have enough interest. Yeah, those people seemed very similar energy to two people who went by the other day. Yeah, looked familiar. So, very similar energy. Yeah, that's strange. He's the first sketchy male I've seen today. Yeah, so I didn't want to do that anymore. I never really wanted to ski. I was always really nervous about it. I didn't really want to go it, and I was with someone. I guess they wanted to go, and I was just like, okay. You know, and I had the skis, okay. And I was like, all kind of getting into it, right? It's like, okay, here we are. And even just going up the fucking ski thing, it's like, I didn't really want to do this. I was on the bunny hills all day. I was like, that was fun for me. I love that shit. But, you know, I didn't want to do anything more than that. I was having fun on the bunny hills. That was it. I'm good for life. Like, it's like I'd rather do mini golf than real golf. It's like I'm good. Like, it's like the click of that ball, and when it falls into that hole, oh, I feel so good. I got a hole in one on the last hole once, and I was just like, I have a free ticket for next time. It's like, you know what? Because I stood there and I got into samurai mode. I grounded like Neo in the Matrix, and I was like, I took a breath, and then I like cleared the mechanism, like Kevin Costner in The Love of the Game. For the love of the game, and I was just like, and it was like I could hear my heart beating. I almost stopped it. I started it again. The entire universe unfolded inside of me, like a matrix hologram kind of thing. And it was like testosterone and estrogen were getting together in tidal pools and telling each other the alphabet of love, and then what to do when violence invariably arose amidst the competing powers that began to blossom and bloom like the blood on the killing fields of history. And then all of a sudden, an emergent Christ-like principle, a child born of the blood and ignorance of the ages. Here we go.
Okay, well, thanks for killing all these people so I could be born. Now, I'm gonna rule you all to death, yay!
So, I mean, what are you expecting? What vision can encompass all the violence of the world? So if you're going to write a myth, you're going to have to finish that story. You want to write a really good, vital myth, finish the story. How does this story end? And it's hard, isn't it? Because history reading itself, as much as we know about it, goes against our nature. It goes against the nature of estrogen and testosterone. And nothing in nature fucking goes to war like we do. I've been with foresters who can look at trees like just something to cut down, or they talk about the forest like a place where everything's competing, and it's just ferocious and merciless. You'll never see a tree that'll grow because these other trees are going to take all the sunlight. But I look at it and go, it's amazing how all the trees are cooperating so that everyone can get some sunlight. You know, the tree needs to do this, the tree gets this, and it's like, you know, whereas in society, more so in a forest, you kind of get what you get. So he's describing society as a forest, but a forest is much better than society. You see how we project? And that shows a weak mind. We have trouble seeing a reality that isn't like the one we live in. But we don't seem to really know that reality until we're projecting it on something or someone else. Right? Isn't that fascinating? I'm going to blow the rest of this joint, and we're going our way. I managed to smoke about 3 joints a day now, but it's fun. So what else? Do you want us to talk about Luke Skywalker? What is that? All that talking then really is just a question, isn't it? It's not really an answer. Let's just be clear. This is speculation, conjecture, and questions. These aren't answers. A lot of people look at my comments on YouTube and say, what the fuck are you talking about? So just so you know, that's a completely common response. There's nothing wrong with you. You are okay. I am not okay. Therefore, you win and I lose. I hope that feels better, you son of a bitch. I hate you for being better than me. You're like my father. You're my castrating mother. I'm going to get you, my little pretty, and your beautiful wives, too. I know. I'll construct a matrimonial financial system. Oh, wait. You anticipated me. Therefore, I shall collect money for you. A charity for married people. To pay for your divorce lawyers and your therapists. There should be a slush fund for divorce lawyers and therapists. Wouldn't that really help a lot of people? For my parents, divorce was expensive. You know? If that's the only thing that's stopping you, fuck, I mean. That's like getting a cab and not being able to get out of it unless you have like an extra $5,000. Think about that, man. Stuck in a cab with like Vishnu, who hasn't fucking cleaned between his toes since like the Kali Yuga. I'm sorry, that's so racist. It's more like anti-Hindu than anti-Indian, actually. I just like wanted to do a Hindu dig. I just didn't know how to do it without digging into his sandals, which is really not appropriate. They have great food, great minds, great culture. If you want to do God, go Indian. Native or Indian, because, I mean, Indians and Native people do God like nobody else does God. It was very interesting stuff. They're way more open-minded about things. And it's so much more advanced conversation in these sort of realms than the average Canadian church basement. Why do we always talk about church basements? It's like your mother's basement and church basements. Are basements anything other? Is there anything in people's basements besides people like me in their mother's basements and people going to church basements and cults? Is there anything good that's done in basements? It's like, oh yeah, my business that brought light to the earth started in my mother's basement. And people are like, whoa, dude, what is it about mother's basements? I love my mother's basement. I was also thinking of changing the world by alchemically creating more genuine light and love for everyone. Yeah, right, man. Yeah, I live in my mother's basement too. And all over the world, everyone's like, starts admitting it. It's like, And then all the people tracking porn sites will be like, we finally got them. They'll all come out. It's like, you're welcome. What is it about porn and mothers? You know, if you're living with your mother, you're probably seeing more digital vagina than the real thing. Well, that's usually my experience. That is my experience. That is the truth of my life. I can testify to that. I've convinced myself it keeps me safe from the devouring nature of the vajayjay. That's so funny. It's weird, like, if you make jokes about my life, it makes me actually sound somewhat cool. Which is pretty weird. Oh, God. So, Joe.
Hi.
Let's go.
How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
Always like to see the black labs.
Yeah.
A very trusty animal.
She has her moments. Like, she's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
They say that, but like, I would trust a pit bull just as much.
Oh, good.
You know?
Well, I'm not trying to, be prejudiced, but is she mature age?
Yeah, she's 7.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
she was younger, like, she still has some leash aggression issues.
Oh, okay. You're saying like
And,
don't
I
assume
would
because
never
they're.
leave her
I see.
alone with a small child.
Okay. Really? Oh, well, glad for letting me know. It's not about breed. It's about dog.
Totally. And
Yeah.
I've had her since a puppy.
Yeah.
But, like, her first few years, we did a big move.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
to be honest, she's my first dog, so
Oh, okay.
I have no idea what
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do.
No, sure. No, I've had a cocker spaniel that was getting a bit aggressive on me and stuff, and I just realized it wasn't my dog maybe, but and I rehomed the dog, right?
Yeah, I think for me, like, I pushed through, but I had her since
Oh,
like
good,
7
yeah.
weeks, and I just was like loving, and then she became like a year and a half, and she was huge, and she was the alpha. So
That's-
she
yeah.
was controlling me, and I had to sort of train myself to
Yeah.
train her.
Way to go. Yeah, no, I'm pretty much in the same position as you. I think that's something that could very easily happen to me with a dog. If you're not like on top of, and I'm not the kind of person that's going to be on top of every little thing. They're just cute and fun to hang out with, right?
Right?
So they say you get the dog you need, so.
Yeah, well, 7 years later,
Yeah.
you know, she is my best friend,
Right on.
and I don't know what I'd do without her, so.
Yeah. Okay, well, I thank you for your candor. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Take care, guys.
I might see you on the way back.
Yeah. Well, that was a conversation. That wasn't a conversation with a fairly good looking. Actually, I didn't have a Cocker Spaniel. My mom did, but the Cocker Spaniel was biting. It was a family issue. Like, this Cocker Spaniel had belonged to an alpha male that my mom basically killed. So, but this lady's much more sane than I am, so. I think behooves the insane person to know that they are insane. Does it not? Have you met people like me and thought, God, if you had some self-awareness about how crazy you sound, you'd improve as a human being. You're so low that any level of self-awareness would greatly improve your life. And I'm like, thank you. You know, that's the nicest thing anyone ever said to me. You're like, oh, fuck, man, you just made me cry. A tear came to my eye. It's like, that's because I'm a sociopath. And I can make you feel things and want things from me that I'll never give you. But you'll increasingly become obsessed with getting them from me. It's like I'm a human slot machine. By the time you've lost $10,000, you think it's going to be 777, but it's 666. led to the children's song that I created. It's called 777 666 777. And the river Styx. I just sacrificed myself a little bit. I said to her, I said, she was basically telling me how her black lab was actually, she wasn't really used to having dogs the first time, and was aggressive, had aggressiveness as well. So she got a dog that forced her to be a little more assertive, I guess. It's amazing, like, I feel so vulnerable in my, oh, was I going to go back here? Oh no, it's okay. I feel vulnerable in my life. I have to ask for forgiveness, the hypothetical listener, because people have asked me, like, who are you talking to? And then I say, I could ask you the same thing, and then it's all very awkward. There's this, like, totally awkward moment of existential proportions. And then nobody wants that. Except me, maybe. So I kind of enjoy that sort of thing. It's kind of like my wheelhouse. And you're like, that's insane people, like, that's their wheelhouse. It's like, I love existentially awkward moments. I actually had a moment like that where someone did that to me, and I was like, I said to this guy in this pawn store, there was a paper there, like a really cool, one of those really local papers, grassroots kind of thing. And I said, oh, this paper's pretty cool, I've been reading that. He's like, oh, I don't use paper. Oh, okay. It's like, it was like this really big virtue statement. I was like, all right. But he was like absolutely right to say that. He's like, he reads his news online. And I was like, okay, so we'll just ixnay the paper, eh? We'll ixnay the aper pay. That's what I should have said. I was like, okay, we'll ixnay the aper pay. Next subject. I mean, it's like, you just destroyed that subject. It's like, I didn't take it personally. I mean, people say the weirdest things to me. Say the weirdest things to me. Is it just me, or like, I don't know, like, you ever just find yourself going, why do people talk to me this way? What's wrong with me? Why do people talk to me this way? Why don't you stop talking to me? Why do I even talk to people? It's just why. If you find yourself thinking to yourself, why do I even bother to talk to you? That was a nice moment. But she's on the passive side. She's had problems with assertiveness with her dog. Black lab. She managed to get a black lab that was aggressive because presumably she's alpha. But why should that be the dog's fault? Why couldn't you tell the dog was an alpha? And I put myself on her level and said, well, I'm pretty much where you're at. I guess I would just have fun with my dog, and, you know, aggression would just come out of the blue. But I don't think if I had a dog. Do you think if I had a dog, even a wolf from a puppy, do you think that dog would grow up aggressive? Doing this every day? No. You have enough exercise? Fuck. You're the most intelligent fucking dog you ever came across. I'd be like, and he'd be like, and I'd be like, and he'd be like, and then I'd be like, and he'd be like, and I'd be like, and he'd be like, you know what I'm saying? That's another song I'm working on. It's called, he'd be like, and I'd be like, and he'd be like, and then I'll put the afterwards. That'll be like post-production. I think I'm going to try getting like seals and dolphins and then blending it together with the sound of Dolly Parton. Biggest titted tranny in the history of the world. Big titty tranny, Dolly Parton, Dolly Parton. A big titty tranny, Dolly Parton, Dolly Parton. Anyway, she was just talking about how her dog was aggressive and she had to work with that and learn to be a little more commanding and all this stuff. But she's basically saying, like, I ruined her when she was a puppy. She had to, everything was kind of, so it's like, I hope you don't have children. But it was interesting to see, like, I think about my vulnerability. I'm saying to the hypothetical viewer, hypothetical listener, in case you're wondering who I'm talking to, because sometimes I talk in circles and you might think who you're talking to, and I could say, well, who am I talking to? You could say, well, I could ask you the same question. And you'd be like, where did I hear this before? Anyway, I have to think, you meet a woman or something, it's like, boy, they're pretty vulnerable. People are pretty vulnerable. It's like, whoa, very vulnerable. I have no idea how vulnerable some people are. I just feel so vulnerable all the time. It's hard to believe other people can be anywhere near as vulnerable as I am. Like, I live by the grace of every fucking new day, But I do have to generate some more momentum. Oh. I just don't think it's dogs. When she said the dog got fatter, and it's like, so she had trouble maintaining the size, behavior, and control of her dogs. Boy. I think she's single. So that's what I mean. Like, I managed to get through the whole day without talking to a female, and she's not really sexually harassing me, but I think she's single, and she does say, I hope I catch you on the way out. So it's like, I think that's a single woman kind of thing, right? So, yeah. And again, I try not to see women as people. I thought she's like, she's being really honest. I said, thank you for your candor. Yeah. She's the one most truthful thing is that she was being very honest about her experiences of having this dog, which were negative, but she had surmounted them. It's a 7-year-old lab, which is a good age probably for them. So, they've made it pretty far together, so that's good. Yeah, it's nice. I'm finally meet a woman somewhere and we're talking and we go out, we have coffee, a couple of hours, talk about everything. And she's like, are you recording this? I'm like, well, I told you about complete honesty, right? No, I record everything. I record my entire day. That's what I do. You're the first woman I've talked to in my entire life. Like, my viewers want to hear that. They want to hear what it's like. I'm sharing. It's out of love, my honey. Love. I'm sorry, ma'am. It's my love, ma'am. My love for your beautiful your person, your mind, your beautiful, your wonderfully inquisitive way of being. Your curious and thrilling enthusiasm for life and knowledge and the pursuit of happiness. And the way your eyes look when you talk about your father, how they glisten. And your mother also, though a slight darkness comes into it at times when talking about how they left you alone on your third birthday. And it kind of scared me. My viewers want to hear that. They want to hear your responses. They want to get a live pulse beat, your respiration, the production of various fluids in and around different orifices in your body, your sphincter. That's why I hooked you up earlier when you were sleeping. You can't believe the data we're getting from this. Whoa, that heart rate is going way up. Sphincter? Wow, I didn't know a sphincter could get that tight. This is 0.15 on the sphincter Richter scale. That's so tight even Al Capone couldn't get out of it. According to this flowchart, I'm supposed to try inserting my middle finger. I got this from the aliens. Dating 101 for humans. She looks at it and goes, this says I'm a whore. It's like, oh, well, I didn't know. I'm not really into that, but... Would you like some hors d'oeuvres? Some hormones? I like to think that women love my male mind more than my flesh and blood, so that when I go off to the sky, you'll love my mind. You'll love my mind, and you will not care that I left not a sperm behind. Woo! Okay, doesn't mean anything. Just like to sing sometimes. All right, moose, medicine, and what was that strong medicine today? Moose medicine, bear medicine. Thank you. Raining a bit more. Just a light shower. Okay. And also lying a little bit to that, so good. And I reserve the right to lie to women when I meet them by saying that I had a Cocker Spaniel, my mom had a Cocker Spaniel, we had a Cocker Spaniel, and the dog was biting me, but it wasn't because I was bad with dogs, like she is, because I kind of impugned my own character, because that my mom had done a lot of violence to the dog and was doing a lot to me. I mean, it's amazing. My mom's energy on that dog was just like, whoa. I think she got some kind of therapeutic value. And she started domestically abusing me for years after that dog went away. She started turning it on me. Creepy, crazy, like you can't figure this shit out fast enough. It's like there aren't enough words and lawyers in the world to stop my mom from hurting me. It's just like, wow. You know, so don't think I'm so arrogant with my words. When I'm out here, I'm like someone who got out of prison. I get to fucking think in an environment where a woman doesn't get to hurt me. Like, I've been oppressed in my breath, oppressed unto death, right? So I fucking love talking. I love breathing. I've paid my fucking dues, man. I've had the equivalent of a job every fucking day of my life with no days off. I've had so many crushing blows to my fucking physical body that I should have gotten millions in dollars in compensation, right? I live a very modest life in commiseration and convalescence. I commiserate with myself. I wonder if I have one more Larabar. Let's check. This would be a perfect time. Howdy. hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey, hey yo, hey yo, I advertise my passivity to her because it mirrors that of her own. It's a small contribution, maybe a small sacrifice, but instead of saying, as some guys might say, oh, well, maybe the dog just needed a little more assertive attention. And, oh, you should be able to tell if you have an alpha dog. That should be one of the first things you can tell about a dog, is whether they're not an alpha wolf or not. You know, a pack leader, you know, happy-go-lucky, you know. People love passive dogs, of course, because you don't have to do anything. They just follow you around, hop in your lap when a stranger comes along. Yeah. Nope. Fire indeed. That gets my heart going. I hear the rain, I just don't feel the rain. Okay. I hear the rain. Okay, we're well on our way. We're gonna skip all other possible female interactions. We are good to go. I'm gonna smoke another joint along the way. And good fun will be had by all because I know how to get to Butler. I can get to Butler, I can get home. I love a new mile, a fresh, well, maybe 2 miles from here. And we can take our time, and I think we did well. Did well, yeah. That was good. It was a good hike. Woo! We're in good shape, Landon. And even that sort of weakness, that constitutional issue, seems to have faded over the day. I knew it would as the day wore on. My heart's gotten stronger. Woo! And we're good. The new path, G4. Stay to it. The sun is my shield. The sun is my shepherd, right? The sun is my shepherd, not Jesus. The sun is my shepherd. The sun is my shepherd. The sun is my shield. The sun is my flesh and blood. The soundness of my mother and father, and long may be their days. And I can be angry at them whenever I want, as I'm allowed to. Period. I hate it when people tell you can't be angry. I hate it when people, they can't be angry. It's like, well, sometimes you are. You can have a big shock of old anger there. It's like, boom, comes red roaring into your brain. It's like, okay. You know, you're like rehearsing like some old conversation with your father. It's like, you're an asshole, you're a deadbeat, you're a liar, you're a predator, you're just abusive. You're a made-up person. You're fake. You weren't my daddy. You weren't good to us. You weren't real. You must have been in shock or some kind of grief. And fuck, you never had access to it, you bastard. Shit. What am I supposed to do with that? You know, it's just like, okay. All right, and your dad's looking at it, it's like, okay, son. Well, that's a lot to take on a phone call. But, all right. I've matured. I accept what you're saying. Damn, son, that must have been raw. Must have been like Someone rubbing you raw down to your own ass bone. Damn it, man. Like, Dad, stop trying to empathize with me. Well, you tell me to empathize, and then I empathize. You get mad at me for empathizing. Just, you're not good at it. Just stop talking. It's not really my dad. It's just my dad. My dad is better in the 20 seconds before he opens his mouth than at any point after that. I love my dad before he opens his mouth. Because I think whatever comes out of his mouth, where it starts off, in his spirit and his mind, is probably a really good place. The thing about having a psychopathic father is like, we talk about like brain dislocation. And it's like, I think in a weird sort of way, people, like when they're a little bit off, maybe it starts off in a good place and then it comes out wrong. You know? These are all purple flowers. I like that. There's a biker. Hi. Oh, she smells nice. She smells good. See, once you start smelling those female chemicals, I said I wasn't going to see a woman. She was riding her bike down here. It's like, you smell those female chemicals. It's like, oh, I want to follow her while she's riding. It's like, wait, pepper spray. It's like, and it's like, okay, I could eat her pussy. Yes, I would eat her. And like 15 minutes ago, I'm like, that's disgusting. It's like, what's wrong with you? It's the male mind. You know, she's almost in the right position already. Gonna rip off her riding pants. Dispense with this confounded, this bicycle is totally getting in my way. It's like, you might want to keep that helmet on. You know, it's like, oh, it's so funny. You come home with this pink bike helmet. It's like, what's that, son? Oh, a souvenir. Another one. Okay, put it in a pile. The police come in. It's like, whoa. And then at the trial, they're like, why the helmets? I don't know. I like them. They're mine. I might ride again one day. I'll need a choice. It's like, I am with women's helmets the way they are with their shoes. I need lots of them. And they're expensive. I mean, like in TV, right? The pathology, the method of operation and so forth of a serial killer is supposed to tell us everything about them, right? They have to make some sense to us. Like, why does this person have this obsessive need to control and objectify their victims in this particular way? And one show that was really good at doing that, not all shows did that, like CSI Miami didn't do it always, but, you know, to that extent, but NCIS did. And it's like, oh, wow. From Arthur Deering to other killers and stuff like that. They really got into it. You know, it started with the Navy and it ended with the Navy, really. It's like, oh wow, it's like, leaves you with some, these are stories, all right. The Navy doesn't mind a story on popular TV about people being trained in the Navy who turn into serial killers. It's like, okay. It's like, imagine if someone came up to you and said, oh, I'm a serial killer. Oh, just kidding, not really. I mean, how could you ever forget that statement? It's like, it'd be like permanently blazoned in the back of your mind. It's like, must move the family now, change jobs, become Episcopalian. You know, who ever wants anyone to say that to them? But there is a killer in our movies. There's a killer on our TVs talking to us about what a killer is like and what a killer thinks. There's something of a murderous nature in the Bible telling us what murderers think. Right? The Bible tells us a lot about murderers, doesn't it? And the way they think. And I'm not saying Jews. We have to say that over and over. even though that kind of makes them look bad. So, and I'm sorry for that. But I don't see the Bible as really to do with Jews very much, right? Unless, of course, they wanted to. It's a book of black magic. I mean, you don't have to be Jewish to practice black magic. I'm sure there's like, in Jewry, yes, there's Kabbalah, and you can get into that, but I mean, it's just, I've learned over the years, it's just not worth bad-mouthing Jewish people. I've got to that point in my life. I accept chemtrails and Jews. I'm not angry about either of you. As though there's only two of you, which would be good, but that's okay. No, I'm thinking when I'm mad about Jews, I'll be like, Jews who appear on television and YouTube, you know. But Jews, like anyone, I mean, you might not like the way they are. I mean, there was a coffee shop I went to owned by Jews, and I really liked it. There was a coffee shop near here owned by Jews, and I didn't like it. They didn't put salt on anything, you know. But the other place was just a chocolate and tea shop. So it's like, they don't have anything against sugar, right? So that was okay. And then when I was like eating their breakfast sandwich, it's like, there's no fucking salt on this thing. It's like, I hate Jews. You know, the Holocaust was a good idea, you know, and they didn't want me coming back anymore. No, I did say it. But I was just like, I was scared to ask them, like, can you give me some salt? Like who wouldn't put salt in an egg and sausage sandwich? You know, actually, I didn't have sausage. I should have ordered it with the sausage. Then it would have had salt, I guess. And it was just weird. I don't know what it was. There was a weirdness. It's like the subject of religion seemed to come up a lot when I came in there. So I guess they were really religious Jews or something. I don't know. It was weird. And even the name of the store was called Hebrews. And it's like, okay, so you've named the store Hebrews, you've advertised the fact you're Jewish as part of your brand, and you go in there and there's like nothing Jewish. There is the gelato, which they seem to like. No, actually there's ice cream, not gelato. And whatever, and sandwiches, and I ate there a few times, it was okay, and stuff, and but they eventually just went out. They went out of business.